Tell them, no, sorry, I couldn't record it. You guys missed the call. All right. So let's talk about the law of navigation. All right. So did a few of you read the law of navigation, get through that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not just me doing it. Okay. Just making sure. All right. So things that.
Zoe, turn your light off.
What was that?
That was my husband, sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay.
Husband participation is acceptable.
That's right. All right, so let's talk about what this law of navigation meant. Like when you were looking at it, what kind of things came to mind as far as leadership and how this is, playing out in our roles?
Unified vision, knowing where you're going and how to get there the right way, not the wrong way.
Okay.
That's what really struck me, was that when you're navigating, you have to think of the whole group. You can't just think of yourself.
Right.
And you have to be appropriately prepared to be able to do that.
Yeah, how about that story in the beginning with the two guys, the difference between their travels to the Antarctic? First of all, I wouldn't want to go there. No desire.
Terrifying. I mean, terrifying how unprepared the second group was.
Right.
And just, they all perished. That's terrifying. You know, they followed their fearless leader, but their fearless leader was not prepared. Mm-hmm. So that really spoke volumes to me, because they said, he had the courage, but he didn't have the leadership skills to do it. And sometimes courage can come across as leadership, and it's not always true.
Yeah, that's actually, let me raise my hand on that one. I don't know if you got, how often you've ever felt that way, but that, and I've said it before, I am a big picture person. I would be the guy with the big picture of me standing in Antarctica and going, man, we can do this. We can do this. Oh, there's 4 of us. Sure. Yeah, we got enough food. Oh, one more. No problem. I'll just eat a little bit less. So I would be running full force. And if I don't have someone saying, no, wait a minute, let me tell you why that might not work, then I could get really stuck. So reading those 2 different stories, and as a matter of fact, when I first read it, the very first time I read through that, I think my heart was starting to race for the guy that they were going by dog sled. The way they were describing it, I was waiting for that to end badly because it sounded so not fun. But it actually was the right way to go, So, anybody else have a takeaway just from that story of these 2 different styles of leadership?
I think under my type of personality, I'd have taken these samples that he wanted brought back and beat him upside the head with them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, when they had to start carrying more things. Yeah, almost made me think back to I don't know, the Revolutionary War or something, where we just, hey, put on your tennis shoes,
We got a bad thing going. Let's make it worse.
Yes. Yeah. This, maybe it'll be better on the other side of death.
I also kind of felt like he was trying to redeem himself, pick up these geological samples and then we'll have something to show for this trip. And it's like, yes. But that was not the goal. You're distracted from the goal. You've already failed, and you're failing on your return trip as well by trying to add a separate goal on.
Yeah.
Which turned into an epic fail.
Yeah, epic failure, totally.
Right. And the only thing that we have is what he got to write about how bad it ended before they died.
I really like the guy that said, I'm going to step outside. I might be a while.
Yes. I have felt like doing that sometimes this past month. I think I'm going to step outside. I'll be a while. Don't come looking for me. I'll call when I'm ready to come back. Well, what I want to do is for chapter 4 then, let's talk specifically about the navigation process and then the navigation strategy. It was in the book, but I also screenshotted for you just some of the notes that I'd gotten, some discussion notes that I had from, I don't know, something I picked up online, I'm sure. I'm going to close this little guy out so I can see it. No, that's not the one I want. Well, maybe not. I'm going to move this over and see if I can pull it up real quick. Hang on a second. Okay. Sharing computers. Log in, log out. Messages. Here we go. Just learn how to screen share. Okay. Can't see what I'm doing, so I got to get you guys back on my computer. All right, here we go. All right, so let's look at the navigation strategy. There were 4 things that it mentioned before getting to the take action. So it's in the learn section of the chapter, right? And so the first one, it says, navigators examine the conditions before making commitments. Okay, so if we are navigators, which we are, what are some of the things? Oh, wait, I missed one. Navigators draw on past experience. So how do we as Plexus leaders, where does that come into play for us?
So if it's new ambassadors, it's reaching your upline, whether it's the person that sponsored you or somebody that's been around. I mean, if you get somebody that's on a fast start team, obviously it's not the person that signed you up, it's somebody above them to give you kind of the lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that can be from a multitude of sources, right? With all the YouTube videos that you've got, with all the diamonds that have put all their, personal takes on how do I go silver? How do you go from this level to the next? So there's a ton of resources that we can refer people to, even as a new person. If you've got a new person that's starting and they start a team real quick, you give them those resources as a wealth of online library, so to speak.
Right. One of the things, and I remember, Jonathan, early on, you and I both kind of would say the same thing, that there are certain people certain people that we can watch all day long and listen to them. And there are others that they start to talk and we think, well, let's go wash some dishes or something. Clean out the horse stall, put my headphones in. Do the others, so I don't know, I know, Laura, you're muted right now, but Christy, I don't know if you have a microphone, but you can type it in, or Marsha, your thoughts on your resources. It says, look and learn from past successes and failures. Failures they're not a bad thing. That's where we get our lessons from. But do you have anybody that you like to watch right now on YouTube as far as learning and training?
Like Melissa Martin.
Melissa Martin?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question? I had Karen and Abby messaging me.
Absolutely, I can repeat the question for you. So the question on the table is, I'm just wondering, do you have anybody that's on YouTube, leaders that are training or giving information that you like to watch? We were saying that Jonathan and I have, and Kathy, we've times going, I don't know if I can listen to that one anymore, but I certainly could listen to this one. So do you have any favorites right now that?
I have been actually forcing myself outside the box instead of watching my same old, which would be like Sonia Dudley or Ame Darling or things like that. I have been going through the list of diamonds and writing down names I don't know of people. And I've been forcing myself to either, if they don't really have a bunch of YouTube videos, watch their diamond documentaries.
Good.
I'm forcing myself to look outside of the box versus what's comfortable for me.
Yep.
So that I can share with others from a different perspective. So like the name Fallon Black, other people might know who she is. I have no idea who she is. So she's one of the ladies on my list. I have Eric Paul. I've heard of his name, but I've never really watched anything on him. James Eastling. I have no idea who that guy is.
Right.
I'm like, but if they're diamonds, they have knowledge that I don't have.
Right.
So I have a list right here.
Oh, cool.
With the names of it's on my to-do list. It's not my number one priorities, but it's my to-do list, to force myself to watch whether they have a YouTube channel, whether they have videos online, whatever it is, to find whether they have a website, a blog, whatever it is they have, what do they have and what do they have to offer?
Right. And I think that's great. Sometimes we do get into that same, we're watching the same people over and over. We're getting used to what they say and how they say it. So getting a new perspective sometimes is good. And you know that they're all doing similar things, but maybe their style is closer to ours or whatever. So Laura, do you have any favorites that you're...
Well, okay. In terms of just in general network marketing, I do love Bob Heilig, and I know that people have watched him forever and ever, but I've just now discovered him and been watching him for like a month.
Yep.
And I just appreciate that he brings fresh insight to it. And it's not solely plexus related, of course, but he just gives good, solid tips. And like one of the best things that I learned from him was how to tell my story, because literally you're not going to have 20 minutes to tell someone your story. Right. You've got to come up with the beginning, where you were, the middle, what happened, and the end, what success you're having, and do it in like 4 sentences.
That's right.
And that has actually made a huge difference, because I used to vomit plexus on people, and now I can literally, if someone asks me, hey, I saw that you posted about plexus, why are you so passionate, or what is it about? I can say, well, this is who I am. This is where I was. Yeah. This is where I am now. And this is why. And it's just so simple, and you can move on to the next part of that conversation. I also, of course, eat up anything that Leslie Zann writes, because I just adore her.
Right.
In terms of plexus people, Sonia Dudley is someone I go to repeatedly. I do like Emily Roberts' stuff too, because she kind of has a little bit of a different take on it.
Right.
I like Marsha's idea, though, of writing down people that we don't know, diamonds that we don't know, and seeing what they have to offer. I like that idea.
Right.
How do you spell, yes, Eric Worre. Christy said Eric.
Yes.
Absolutely. How do you spell Heilig? Is it Hylig?
Helig.
Helig. Okay.
Yeah.
I think he's called the Online Upline.
Yes.
Okay.
And he does these really quick videos. They're like 4 minutes usually, and you can watch them really quick, and they don't interfere with your day, but you learn like something every single time.
And that's, since you said that, they're like 4 minutes long. Or one of the things that I'd learned is when I go to YouTube, if I pull up plexus videos and I filter by time, I can say less than 5 minutes. So if I don't have an hour to sit and watch a training, I can pull up all of the training videos that are less than 5 minutes or less.
I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. So when you go to YouTube, you can filter, you can search by, and you can name how much time you have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Because it really does pull up some things.
Bob's stuff is on Facebook, and you can also look on YouTube for his stuff. And then I know he has a website as well, but I just run across it on Facebook. I liked his page on Facebook, and they pop up.
Right. Right. Okay. So, so that was number one. It was look at and learn from past successes. So I think Plexus, our leaders do a great job of providing us with all of these different videos. Love that banana. Thanks.
It's dinner. I haven't had dinner yet.
Oh, that's right. I'm just waiting to get to my ice cream. So I'm going to hurry us along here. So take my block before I do it. But anyway, so looking and learning from the past successes, that's something that we have a lot of people to look at. So the number two then was saying they examine the conditions before making commitments. So clearly the 2 stories at the beginning, the one knew the conditions and was very successful. The other one, not so much, just kind of was winging it. So what about for us? If we're saying we need to gather information, drawing on experience means looking inward, examining conditions means looking outward. So what are the things that we need to do as Plexus leaders? So when we're examining or gathering information.
Okay, this is my epic fail.
First attempt
at learning.
Attempt at learning.
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I am totally not that person. I'm a run and jump.
Yep.
So, then I pick up the pieces afterwards and beg for forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
So
you and I are so much alike.
So this is where I do struggle, especially with some of my downline currently who want to run the business. They want they want a step-by-step of what they should do with new ambassadors. And I'm like, you mean in writing form?
Yeah.
I'm thinking more of, I just do it. So I have had to collect and gather resources and examine my conditions, but now I'm examining them afterwards instead of doing it previously. So that was like one of my epic fail moments.
Okay. So you've learned something. So in that same, and again, we have all of these resources that are at our fingertips. We can find videos that if someone says, well, I want to know step by step, we could find videos from someone, filter it by 5 to 10 minutes and send it to them. And there are resources from other people that we can find that's already put in place in writing. So Marcia, don't feel like you have to write it all down as in what do you do to start somebody. So that's examining outside. If I'm examining my conditions outside, I can say, wow, look at all these different places I can go to. And I know different people that are really strong at it that I can go to. But then I have to look inward. And I think for me, looking inward at what do I do? So I'm going to use that as an example. What do I do to start a new ambassador? It's just not good enough. Because I have like half of a team of white lines. So either I'm not using those resources wisely enough or providing that enough consistency, of course. But I think that's something else is we're looking at what's out there for us, take advantage of it, and then, you know, Marcia, for you and I, we need to figure out what works for us. We'll have our own little group of jump and go and later. People will not look at ours as we'll be the ones that are writing the letters at the end before we die. We tried our best. So Jonathan, Kathy, you guys are great at collecting resources and having that available. Where did you find most of your stuff?
Oh, so I figured out who uplines were and what their team pages were, and dug through the files after I understood how Team Legacy's files were. So I just went and looked for the different resources. And I have a knack for searching through the internet for different stuff. Found stuff on Pinterest. I found stuff just all over.
Yep.
And then, when I find that kind of stuff, I put it on our team page so that our team has those resources available to them.
All right. So for those of you on the call, not on Jonathan and Kathy's team, is if you are looking for what do you do with your brand new ambassadors, you could message them and say, hey, do you have a file?
Add Marcia.
And I generally, whenever I go someplace, have my external drive with all that data on it as well.
Yeah, so they've got a wealth of knowledge. They have a wealth of knowledge together. Great, strong team.
Intended.
Yay, pun intended. Okay, so that's gathering information. The next one, number 3, is thinking things through. Okay, so this one, the way it was written, wait a minute. Navigating, they listen to what others have to say. I was looking at notes online from the same study, and it was written this way. It says, you have to think things through regarding how the journey will affect the people who are following you, others, and the organization. So this says that you have to listen to what others have to say. So no matter how much you learn from the past, it will never tell you all that you need to know for the present. No matter how good a leader you are, you yourself will not have all the answers. So the two of them are kind of, it's all still talking about getting your ideas from resources and gathering information, but I liked how this one brought it to me and saying, I have to think about what I'm doing and how is this going to affect, if I'm choosing to go one way, how is that going to affect the people that are following me and the organization itself? So here's a real negative. Someone who decides that they're going to go sell their stuff on eBay. How does that affect all of the people under them? It affects all of the people around them, and it affects our organization. Because what we hear is people who are not Plexus people saying, well, I can get that stuff on eBay. Or I bought something on eBay and I couldn't get my money back. Or, so it negatively affects everybody. So that's something we need to take in consideration with navigation. If we're navigating and we choose to go one path, we have to remember there might be people following us. So we have to think about how that's going to affect them also. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so almost 8:30. The other one is, for that to go along with that number 3, how it's going to affect and listen to others. I was also reading about just finding mentors. But the mentors that they're describing in this discussion that I was looking at was not a mentor from your business, not even a mentor from your upline, but finding a mentor maybe in a similar a similar leadership position, but not necessarily Plexus. So how is that going to benefit us if we find, what kind of mentorship can we get from someone who's not in Plexus?
The way I look at it is that Plexus has only been around since 2011, correct? I believe so.
Originally, it's 2008, I think.
Okay.
2006.
Oh, wow, I'm more off. I thought it was 8. Okay.
Okay. So what I'm looking at is that there have been companies that have been around longer, but not just network marketing companies.
Right.
I actually look to my general manager at my day job as a mentor because she knows what she's doing.
Mm-hmm.
She also knows how to talk to people, and she's obviously a great leader. She's been a general manager for something like 20 to 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's very highly sought after. People look to her. She has a lot of influence. So just taking her example and how I see her interact with people, and how she handles her business, even though she's representing a larger corporation, I do take that as a way for her to be my mentor, is that she understands the process. She understands how to talk to people. She has an undeniably amazing way of finding people doing things approximately right. That's how she says it. She never says that someone's doing something wrong. She always has this positive attitude. You look for what they're doing approximately right, and you help them and lead them and guide them. So even though network marketing is completely unique from most jobs, so like Christy said, someone who provides value. Totally. And just someone who knows what they're talking about.
Right.
So
a mentor outside of our business, I think finding someone who's a leader. We see them as a leader. They just are not leading in our business, but they still, like you said, we can glean all kinds of things as far as how to treat people or adding value, like you said, and that's going to lead us into our next chapter here in a moment. But sometimes finding a mentor outside of Plexus is going to be effective for some of us if we don't take it like, okay, you're trying to change my business, or you're trying to change the way I'm doing my business. A mentor outside of that, it's almost like when I think about church, and pastors will find a mentor from a different church, from some, so it's not like I'm trying to run your thing. I'm just showing you or guiding you in the way that, that has been working. And I think what you said is that when your general manager is able to find the positive first, it makes the person want to continue working and not just throw their hands up and be like, fine, you do it. If you don't think so we see the positive. So, all right. So that was number 3. And then number 4, it is, they make sure that their conclusions represent both faith and fact. Another way to say it is that you're balancing optimism and realism. And for me, to be around people who are just all butterflies and rainbows and never accepting or acknowledging the fact there are issues, that to me is just like a false advertising. Mm-hmm. I need to be able to be real with somebody like today and say, okay, this totally is not acceptable. that we're sitting on this for 30 minutes. I understand what's happening. Thousands of people are trying to get in. That's great news. But at the same time, I don't have to be saying, yeah, it's all great though. It's just a med. Let's find all the positives. The glass is half full. But being able to balance that optimism with the realism. And
Yeah.
I know what the possibilities are, but I also know it's going to take hard work, or, that kind of a thing. So anybody has some takeaway thoughts on?
There was one quote in there that I put like 10 stars around, and it was, you've got to have faith that you can take your people all the way. If you can't confidently make the trip in your mind, you're not going to be able to take it in real life.
Yeah.
Yep.
And for me, because I think I've struggled with mindset at times, that kind of was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Even though my team didn't actually see it, I can't take them to the next level without taking myself there first.
Right.
So even though I want what's best for them as the leader, I can't navigate them through the rough times if I'm not fully invested and confidently leading them.
And how true that is.
Yeah.
If you hit rough times and give up, then you didn't successfully navigate it. So how can you help someone else walk through that water also?
Well, and I will tell you, probably not a month ago, I was ready to quit. So I've done a lot of, it's been rough. So for me, that was kind of like one of those, okay, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this. We're not going to be wishy-washy.
Right.
And so, I mean, I was at the verge, crying hysterically, and it was bad. So,
because you want it so badly, but if you're not seeing what you want.
Yes. But I also did some self-reflection too, which I think was part of the struggle. But
right.
I mean, we're looking at, reality. It's that I need to have that faith. I need to have that confident belief that I can take my team there.
Right.
And I think for some people, like for me, that's the scariest part. It's not that I can't see myself in Alexis, and I can totally see that.
Right.
But making sure my team is there, that I worry about that. I worry, am I a good enough leader? Which is ultimately why I'm here with you guys.
Anybody else have that thought?
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like when you have team members who drop off, you feel as though it's a failure on your part. And to be honest with you, with my inexperience, I almost guarantee that it was. But you also have to take into consideration what they're dealing with, what they're going through. I mean, and you can't take 100% of the blame, but you do need to take your part of it, and turn that failure into a success with the next one. Like, I had an ambassador who I failed to follow up with because I went into a really busy time, right? And she dropped off basically without telling me. And so when I went into my back office the next time when I came up for air, I was so disappointed and discouraged and frustrated. And so, but at the time I didn't take the time to go to her and say, well, why, can we talk this through and understand why? So I never really got that kind of closure, but now I'm kind of on top of it. And if I see that my ambassadors are struggling or flailing in some way, I can literally go to them and say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk this out. And maybe not give them every single step towards, doing everything, but help them with what they need an understanding of, or why they're not having faith in the process, and what I can do to help them by being a better leader.
Good. And that's working.
Yeah, I mean, I currently have 3 active ambassadors. I have 2 others that are not super, they're hit and miss.
Right.
And so I'm just going with my runners and paying a lot of attention to them and checking in with the others as time goes along. But just by sticking with the people that want to work it, it's really made a big difference. I mean, it really has.
And the quote that just gets changed around over and over, but if you want to help your team grow and help your runners grow, the best way to do that is to start growing yourself and going out and bringing on new people. Because the excitement of you bringing on new people, those who are going to do this business will see that and want to be a part of it. This is an 80-20. 20% of the people are going to stick it out with you, but even 20% of them are probably going to be the ones that actually build a business. Network marketing is great because anybody can do it, but not everybody will do it. So that's the thing, is to remember that it's, we can take on some of that responsibility, but at the same time, the reality is that we're going to have some people that are super fired up, excited, and then something's going to hit them and they're going to just collapse. They'll say, nope, can't do it. And they might come back later, but I think that's, I'm glad to hear that you are able to now look at that and say, okay, I need to be able to follow up. And I'm telling you, the fear of success was bigger to me than the fear of failure. The fear that, oh my gosh, what if somebody actually wants to follow me? I don't know where to take them. I get teased all the time. My kids say that I get everybody lost all the time. No matter if we go on a hike, if we go riding, I'm lost. Even with a navigation system, I get lost.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing. And so, Marcia, you are not alone in thinking that way.
One of the things I remind Kathy of quite a bit is you can't want it for them either.
Right.
They have to want it for themselves, and they have to want to come for the learning and the knowledge. And those are the people that you work with.
Right.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
It doesn't take away from the frustration, but you got to focus the energy on where it's going to be fruitful.
Right.
And Jonathan, I absolutely, I think that's why men are sometimes better leaders because emotionally, and I'm just talking, from me personally, and why my husband's so wonderful, because he finally said to me, in my hysterical crying in bed moment about Plexus, he sat down next to me and he's like, Marcia, you're a high school teacher and you're starting to act like a high schooler. He's like, you're a teenager. What is wrong with you? You've worked so hard. Why would you just give up? And if I'm being ultimately real, I was 10 points away from senior gold at the end of the summer. And now I'm 100 points away. So, I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? But I lost one of my runners. She went back to work and she doesn't see the value in it. And, my uplines contacted her and, so all of her people have ultimately went off, even though I've reached out to them too. So it was a fail forward moment. So, when you're so close to something, you can taste it and then it feels like it's away from you within 2 months. It's just one of those. But I think that's, ultimately it was my husband, who's not even an ambassador yet, I must say, was the one that said, hey, you're acting like a baby. Knock it off.
Right.
We're benefiting from this. Our family's benefiting from the products and financially. Get over yourself.
Right. Right. It's we want something so badly. So, all right. So then let's take this to, and then the thing that I posted, it's actually on page 41. And it says, I think that's one. Yeah. The navigation strategy, where it's plan ahead in each of the letters. Predetermine a course of action, lay out your goals, adjust your priorities, notify key personnel, allow time for acceptance, head into action, expect problems, always point to the successes, and then daily review your plan. So daily review your plan basically takes you back to lay out your goals and adjust your priorities. So when I looked at that and the questions that for discussion, it says, look at the 4 steps in the navigation process, which were the 4 we were talking about. Which ones have you used before? What would interfere with you taking all 4 steps? Don't want to go there. I want to look at the next part. So this is what I sent to you guys. It says, of the components in the plan ahead strategy, which are you most likely to do well? So is it that looking at the course of action, laying out your goals? So if you're looking on page 41, I don't read them all to you. It says, which of these strategies are you most likely to do well? So let's start with, where do you think you are strong? So everybody take a moment and look.
I'm really good at predetermining a course of action and heading into action. The rest of it, I know I struggle with, because I'm looking at this and I'm like, adjust your priorities. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's, oh, but this business is supposed to just fit in with my everyday life the way it always has been. And like, here's the deal. For the most part, it does. But like, I made a priority to get on this call tonight. It was a priority to me, And so like adjusting priorities, I'm learning that.
Yeah, and you did it very successfully.
Yes.
You are.
Laying out your goals, I think actually I'm sort of decent with that. I've gotten better about that. But the idea of like allow time for acceptance, I just expect everybody to be ready to jump in when I am. So like I post something on my team page and I expect everybody to just hop on it, answer my questions, do this, whatever, just be, there, and they're not.
Yeah.
And then daily review your planning. I think that's something I struggle with too. But like, I just want everybody to just like be as gung-ho as I am in the moment and just go for it. But I like the idea of allowing time for acceptance, because you're right. Nobody's going to be on the same page until we get each other on the same page. So.
Right. Kathy, what is your strength? What's the one that you do most, like the most likely that you do well?
I'm not answering for you.
No. So Kathy, of those, so pick one. What do you think is the one that you do, like, that is your golden spot?
I think I expect problems no matter what I do.
So good. You take the good thing, and it's about expecting.
We gotta figure out which way we're gonna, rectify it. How we're gonna work with it.
Okay. All right, so yours is expecting problems. Christy says hers is heading into action. Okay, so heading into action, first we want to make sure we predetermine the course, so we're going to leave that to Laura to make sure she gets us there. All right, Jonathan, what's the one that you think is like you're most likely going to do well on?
So there's a couple areas, and part of it's because I'm a guy, we're natural built problem solvers. So determining a course of action, if I see a situation, my mind automatically goes to what's the course of action to resolve this?
Right.
I always expect a positive outcome. So when it comes to expecting problems, I expect a positive outcome. I know I'm going to run into something along the way. Right. I may not know what it is, but I will adapt to the situation and figure out a way to work around it. I just have a long track record of pulling victory out of the jaws of defeat, where the government specializes in snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Right. And you're able to turn that around.
The areas that I'm going to flip this a little bit around and say, I need to work more on my daily review of planning, because I've been more of I'm going to take things as they come, but when it comes to Plexus, I can't take things as they come. I need to get an established routine, so to speak, and go back to having that routine, that daily review. And when I was using that planner that you saw me using earlier in the year, I think I was having much better results than when I've gotten away from it. And it's because where I was earlier in the year, I had access, and that was what I used all the time, is that calendar.
Right.
Now that I go in and out of a building where it's harder for me to take stuff, and that I've gotten away from it because I'm consumed in what my primary role is, as the breadwinner for the family.
Right.
And that's where my focus has been, and that goes back to what we talked about in the beginning. I need to work out that balance between my primary stuff and what I'm doing for Plexus.
Right. And Christy says notifying key personnel, so that's a strength for you also. Yeah, so once you make a decision, once you get, set your goals out there, you need to notify the key personnel, and the key personnel are the people that are going to be, that you want to help move into that next level as well.
So John does the forecasting for us, and I do the daily planning for us, pretty much.
There you go, that teamwork.
It's a good team.
All right, so Christy says she stinks at setting goals. So that's going to be the second point is, which are you likely to skip or do poorly at? And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time there, because we beat ourselves up all the time. And Marsha, I hear it in your voice, and I know in my own, I am the best at beating myself up. And I think a lot of women, Jonathan, I don't know if men are so much, they just dig their heels in and go for it. But the women, we're going to sit back and beat ourselves up a little bit about how badly we did that. Or instead of just picking things up and saying, okay, well, from now on, let's go move forward. So what are, so we don't want to spend too much time on the things that we're likely to skip. For me, goal setting is still a problem. For me, and I wish that I could keep you guys on here for 9:30 if some of you want to stay a little bit longer. I would love to talk about, one of the assignments was the vision casting. Mm-hmm. And I suck at that. I really do, because I have a hard time thinking about what I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow morning. And that's right in my cupboard. So it's hard for me to pretend and role play or write out my, today was a lovely day at my ranch. And, because I don't know, it's just not something that I've done before. So to me, that's where I like to skip. I like to skip the goals. So anybody else, what is the thing that you would like to skip? And we'll just pick one and then move on.
So I can lay out goals. My problem is coming up with some of the times the steps that I need to get to those goals. Like, okay. I know I want to be at a certain level at a certain time.
Right.
It's breaking that down, at least from a plexus perspective, in a way that's I'm going to achieve that. I know that I want to help Kathy get to Emerald by next July. Well, that means I've got to grow my team. I've got to help Joshua grow his team and the rest of my team, because by me growing, that's going to help Kathy's team grow to reach that ultimate goal.
But trying to encourage him or light the fire underneath him has been very difficult.
Right.
And that's a balance, between building my team and helping her with her team.
Right. Right.
It goes the other way too.
It does.
Yeah. All right, Marsha, what's the one that you want to skip?
All of them?
No. Come on. We've got to get back to you on the first one. Which one do you do well?
I don't know, but probably head into action because I just go. But I guess always point to the successes, because I'm very quick, as you said, to look at the successes of everybody else and then look at my failures.
Yep.
I can see the successes in other people and I can praise them.
Yep.
But then I look at myself, and it's that once again, I need to be the leader for the team.
I would have absolutely picked that same one for you. I would have said pointing to success, because, first of all, teachers are able to do that, whether it's true or not. We can make up successes. You have to write nice comments. But I would have absolutely picked that one for you. All right. And then the last one, just I want you to think about, and then, because look, we're at 8:51. There's so much in these chapters. It says, what would help you become stronger in each of the components? So is that going to be coaching, watching someone else, or doing training? Again, I think it all comes out to the resources. What do we have? And it is also, it's reaching out to someone else that you think, you know what, I really connect with this person. And just, if it's just giving them a call or sending them a voice message and just saying, hey, I would love to have you, maybe not exactly the mentor, but just someone to bounce ideas off of or just talk to and build a connection. So when you want to become stronger in any one of these, you don't have to have one person that's good in all of them, because each of us said, here's the one thing we're good at. So you could pick, it's kind of like, was it John Maxwell says that? No. Was it Eric Worre that said had the 5 people in his team?
That was Eric Worre.
Eric Worre, yeah. So you might need 5 different people if you want to learn how to be better at laying out goals. Find someone who's great at goal setting, and maybe just once in a while message them and say, hey, I would love to just talk about goals. Someone else who's really good about, reviewing planning, but just find a couple of different people that can do that for you. All right. I want to put that chapter to rest and move on to the next one. We are probably going to only get through part of this one, and we'll finish it next time, because this one I think is one of the, this is just a really powerful chapter. And this one is the law of addition, And So
Look
this,
who fell asleep.
pardon me?
Who fell asleep?
Who fell asleep? Oh, oh, stick the lollipop to her face and take a picture of it.
I know.
Oh, that's a sweet picture.
I know. I was like, oh, sorry, interrupted.
No, that's okay. What I want to do, okay, so in the law of addition, unless someone has something like from the beginning that they want to pull out, I want to go right to page 48. Okay. Oops. Number 1 is on the bottom of 46.
What does it say on page 48?
Oh, my bad. We're at the learn. It's page 47. I'm sorry, where it says learn. So this, when we talk about the law of addition, it's all about adding value. And so Christy actually put that in there. Christy said it. Someone who provides value, like up towards the top of her comments, and this is one of my favorite chapters because this is who I want to be, who I want to become better. And it is about the law of addition. And it's not addition to my team. It's not addition to me, but it's what we're adding to other people. So this is one of my favorites. So when we look at the first one, it says we add value to others when we truly value others. So how is it that we value others? And I think, Laura, your manager is someone that is a good example of this.
Totally. She does not walk in the building without, she'll walk in the building and she says hello to everybody in there. I'm talking about the cooks, the servers, the hosts, the bartenders, me, the guests. She just makes it a priority to make others feel like they're valuable. And she, of course they are valuable, and it's not just making them feel that way, but when you're acknowledged by name, or when, I have never been in a restaurant except for like maybe Olive Garden where the manager has come up to the table and said, well, how's your meal doing today? My manager literally walks in. When she comes in, she says hello to everybody. And then throughout the evening, she's greeting tables and just saying, we're so glad you came in today. And that makes people feel good. Like like they have a purpose. There's a, they are adding value just by being there, kind of thing.
And actually, it's funny that to be at a table and have a manager come up and ask if everything's okay. I think sometimes Charlie and I will look at each other and go, do we look like we're not happy? Because it's so odd.
Yeah, but it's such a good thing because I think there's a big philosophy and culture thing where I work, and it's about creating raving fans, which is a book by the same author as the 1 Minute Manager, who I'm blanking on right now.
Yeah.
And basically the goal is to make people understand that as customers, they're just as valuable whether they're purchasing like one appetizer or whether they're purchasing a steak dinner, kind of thing.
Right.
And to make them happy, in turn makes your business run better.
Right.
So
Christy says recognize, realize, and reward. I love it.
Ooh, I like that.
I do too. The 3 R's of value. So when I first went through this, I was underlining and highlighting this particular chapter. And the part that I started talking about is, when we value or we're adding value to others, one of the things it talked about was this, sign language, which was at the time I was really starting to learn it, and saying that the sign for service or server, it's serve, serving, server, any of those, it's your hands like this, and you're moving them back and forth. And so your hands are open and you're serving other people. And so that's a good visual of, I'm adding value to you. It's not about me, it's you. And so my hands are there to serve you. We want to be trusting and caring, offering help, because when we see other people doing that to us, we're drawn to them. We're drawn to the people that say hi and smile to us, smile at us. And so we want to be able to do that right back at them. So recognize, realize, and reward. The next one, number 2, and I put stars all over this one because this one is for myself. It says, we add value to others when we make ourselves more valuable to others. I think we run into people all the time who already believe that they're valuable to us. They think that they hold a whole lot of value to us and that we should be like begging them for information. But the last sentence says, the more you continue to pursue personal growth, the more you will continue to have to offer. If I don't have anything to offer, I can't lead you. You know, I'm empty, I'm done. So I need to continually grow myself. And I think that's probably some of the times in this past 2.5 or 3 years almost that I would fall the most in plexus, is when I was not personally growing. And if I'm not growing, I'm dying. I mean, that's the only way I can think of it. And yep, knowledge is power. But the more I know about myself and the more I'm growing myself, I have something to offer, you know, so it's not fake influence, you know, so.
I've noticed since starting to do personal development that more people come to me for advice, personal advice, as well as some professional advice. And that's really interesting to me because I've never, before I started developing myself as a business owner and started developing myself personally, looked at myself as someone worthy of giving advice.
Wow.
And so I this really struck me because in order to be valuable, you have to have value. And like, it's not that I didn't before. I definitely had some topics that I knew everything about and whatever, but were they of value to other people? No. Did people look to me for advice on anything? Probably not. But when you are developing and changing and growing better as a person, people recognize that, right, just universally, I think. So that this one really did strike me too.
Yeah. And people look up to someone with knowledge. Yep. Christy, I like your input. Jonathan, Kathy, what do you think?
Well, I saw one place, a couple things. First, in the Army, it was ingrained in me when I was young. It was mission first, people always. If you take care of your people, they'll take care of you. Yep. The second thing was, if you look at what level somebody is as far as like a leadership level scale, so if you rated yourself on a 1 to 10 scale, an 8's not going to go to 6 for information.
Yeah.
An 8's going to look for a 9 or a 10 for information.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of where that leadership paradigm goes. And if you want to lead people, then you need to work on your leadership skills, obviously.
Right.
And leadership comes in multiple different ways, right? We all have different strengths. There's 21 laws, and we're not good at all 21 of them. But that's where the team concept makes for a better organization, because it goes along with the different color personalities. We don't all think like a red or a blue or a yellow. We come from different perspectives, and that's where having groups or team meetings to discuss different ideas and get different perspectives helps the overall team work, and gives you the opportunity to learn how a different personality thinks.
Right. I think that's a good thought of connecting people. I think Kathy, you and I were talking. I'm a yellow. I am straight up yellow, and the blue. I might have been blue a little while in college, but the blue didn't last. I wiped that off and became yellow again, where I'm all about the helping. It's not about to go out and have a big like selfie picture. I see those pictures and go, why didn't I think to take one of those? Because it's just not me. So to be able to connect people and saying, right, you guys, you're not an upline or downline, you're sidelines, but you're both blue. You will have a blast building this business together. You don't have to be on the same team. You're going to be great together. On the other hand, put a bunch of yellows together where we just want to go and save the world. But, we're supporting each other and we're offering value, even if it's not monetary. It's not like, okay, I'm going to get money from this. I'm just supporting and helping. We will grow personally because we will be energized by being around some of the like-minded people. Anybody else for that one? Making ourselves more valuable. I just love that. The next one is we add value to others when we know and relate to what others value. And that colors the personalities. If I know that someone else relates to the fun and the excitement, and I know that that's what they value, then I need to make sure that I'm connecting them with other people that are like-minded in that. you know. There was something I'd read about that, and I have it in here. No, it's not where I was looking. Sorry. But it really was just talking about I know where it is. I highlighted it on page 49. Inexperienced leaders are quick to lead before knowing anything about the people they intend to lead. I think teachers are in that category.
Yeah.
I think those of us that have been teachers in any capacity, whether it's a coach or I think we just are quick to lead. Yep, I got a little bit of information. I can take you where you need to go. And that's out of necessity a lot of the time. But then it says, but mature leaders, and that's where I highlighted, circled, underlined, starred, because I wasn't thinking that way at the time. A mature leader listens, learns, and then leads. They listen to people's stories, find out their hopes and dreams. They become acquainted with their aspirations. So that's going to be our goal setting and our vision casting. They find out about their hopes and dreams. They become acquainted with their aspirations. Here we go. They pay attention to their emotions. And from those things, they learn about their people. So if I know what my team values, then I can help lead them in a better way. If my team doesn't value helping, whatever it is that I'm, if I'm out helping puppies and my team doesn't value that, they're not going to follow me. So anybody have your, just, I'm looking at 904, thoughts on that one as far as the difference between an inexperienced leader or a mature leader, and how you guys feel like maybe where you are in that?
I mean, I think stuff like this helps you mature and understand, you know. And you're right, you can't lead people that you don't understand. If you don't take the time to understand them, then you're not really a leader. You're kind of like, I don't know, a dictator maybe. Just, I don't really care about your opinion or what matters to you. I'm just going to tell you what to do based off of what I think, And you're right, though. Like, if you walked into a room full of blues with a yellow attitude or vice versa, you're not going to get very far. Just pushing your agenda.
Right. Yeah, that's why I like that book so much. It really had helped me, whether I need to recognize people or not, it was really good to recognize myself.
I've got a cat that's like trying to crawl in my lap right now. Sorry.
I know my dog's finally laying down there going to sleep, but but it's, it's all about, again, this chapter just all about adding.
Cute cat.
Yeah. And they want to stand on the computer or on the pages, but just to be able to add value, again, the law of addition. How are we adding value to our team and to our people that we're talking to? And that is knowing where they're headed, what drives them, what motivates them. And I know it's just something that I continue to want to grow in. And then the last one, being a godly book, says we add value to others when we do things that God values. And again, just something I underline. God desires us not only to treat people with respect, but also to actively reach out to them and serve them.
The whole story, and it's further on where he cleans the guy's shoe with Dan and the Chick-fil-A guy. Well, I go back to that because I think of servant leadership, and I've taught, I taught a Sunday school class for years and things like that. And in our Sunday school class, what we did one year, I think it was for Easter, I can't remember what it was for, but we actually, all of the staff members took all of the kids and we actually washed all of their feet.
Wow.
And I remember how the kids would giggle and laugh, and they just could not believe that we were sitting on the floor washing their feet. And it just reminded me of that whole servant leadership of Jesus.
Right.
Himself. So I go back to that, and it just, it was a friend's idea. I said, you think we can pull it off? And we did. And it was incredible. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, people are gonna want to stick around when they just feel, not only they just feel valued by how we treat them, but here we talk about God giving us this business. Some of us believe that this is absolutely a God-given business for us. I've been able to witness more and tell people about God more with my business than when I was a teacher. At least there I wasn't allowed to talk about it really.
Yes.
But just the fact that I can pray that God's going to put people in my business or put people in my path that need the products or need the business. And I know that I'm not going against God's plan or against God's will. It's not a monetary thing for me. And when it does become more about the money, things just stop moving. I don't know if you guys experience that.
Totally.
But when I place the business before the people, then all of a sudden I get stuck. And I have challenges more than I had before. And so I just remind myself that often. So.
I'll be honest with you, my PV dipped really strongly at the beginning of like August, September.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because we were really strapped. I mean, we're always strapped, but we were really strapped at the beginning of those 2 months. And I was so kind of desperate to make this money that it literally became about the money, and I was pushing it. And it wasn't until I just sat back and took stock and realized that, yes, these people need the products, but I'm not going about it in an appropriate way. And I prayed on it. And, I added 6 preferred customers this month. And that might not be a huge amount for somebody who does that every month, but compared to August and September, holy moly, and it was because I went through it prayerfully, and it's something I tend to forget, like to seek God for all those answers, but it's something I tend to forget from time to time. And he finds very, very good ways to remind me. So,
yeah,
but yeah, when it becomes about the money, it's not about the people and the helping. It's not what God wants for us. It's what we want for ourselves. So we got to look beyond that.
I think what helps with the company is the leadership of the company has that same mindset. And that's what's made Fluxus so different from a lot of other organizations. Not to say that others don't have it, but the way Taro and Alec put that into the very fabric of the way the company is run and dealt with.
Yep.
Literally, I mean, the ranks are biblical if you look it up, because I don't even know what verse it is because I'm not a hugely biblical person, but the ranks, the jewels are all, it's a biblical reference, very subtle.
And like I said, I appreciate the fact that that's the Christian value, is to add value to other people, because that will add value to your own life. And so when we are serving others with this business and this company and these products, when we are serving others, that's when we're growing. It's when we get lost in our why. We talk about come up with your why. Well, the why for me, that, of course, that changes, but my handle on it is when I leave the path that I thought that God put me on in the beginning, when I leave that and start thinking me, oh my gosh, when am I going to hit this level? That's when everything just comes to a screeching halt. And I forget to reach out to people out of love and care. And I'm reaching out as in, hey, I need another, I want to get, and that's when things come to a halt. So I'm glad that you added those preferred customers, because it's a great testimony of God wants to reward his kids,
and just having the faith that he knows what he's doing, and that you have to take action, but you also have to have faith. So
Right. Because without it, we end up going the wrong way. And he has a way to bring us back, right?
With a 2x4 to the head.
Yes.
That was me. I was there.
Yep. And that's it is, we have, I'm not working now on a job, but we have a job, we've had a job, and this was brought into our life. So reminding ourselves daily, that's me, and saying, I'll always take these products. If this business falls out from under me, I will still take the products. I won't be without them. And knowing that as long as I just keep sharing, things will,
Hope dealer, you hope dealer.
Hope dealer. Yes. So, but that is the plan. So, that is the end of chapter 5. The thing that says take action, that last page on 52, it does talk about how can you give to others, and maybe you select someone that you would mentor. I feel like, and God will direct me if it's not the right thing, I feel like I am supposed to find someone to connect with within my downline. It might not be level 1, 2, 3, or 4, and just find someone that I connect with and just build that relationship. Just start working through conversations and saying, okay, do I have anything to offer? And it might not be business leadership so much as it is, maybe it's encouragement, maybe it's, I don't know, a laugh every once in a while, and lighten things up. But you guys, if you want to take on that where you're going to find someone to mentor, that's awesome. If you feel that God might be leading you to just maybe build a relationship with somebody new, looking at how you can add value to them and encourage them. It may be in your downline, it may not be,
my husband says I can't pick anymore.
Yeah,
they came
you
to
have
me.
quite a few that you're building relationships with. But, just as I was thinking about, like Marcia, I think you and I are going to need to talk. I think I need to talk to you about some things, but just to be able to reach out. I don't need a party because I'm not blue.
That's okay. I don't either because I don't have a whole lot of blue either.
But yeah, so maybe find someone in your same color group and just kind of hang out and just encourage each other, that kind of thing. So it is 9:15. If you guys are finished, want to jump off, that's fine. If you want to stay on for a few minutes and just talk about vision casting, I would love to just pick some brains. Do I have any takers to stick around for about 5 or 10 minutes?
I hate to say it, I gotta go.
Absolutely. No,
right.
We're finished. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for doing this.
I did want to do one more add to the fail concept. I heard this one this morning.
Okay.
Anything worth doing is worth doing badly.
Yes.
Most people hear, it's worth doing good, but it's worth doing bad until you get better at it.
Very
the
good.
First time, the example that they used was Bishop T.D. Jakes giving a sermon. His first sermon wasn't a stellar sermon, but you don't start off great, but you got to start to be great.
Yeah. Yes. You got to start somewhere. So, all right. Well, Laura, we will talk to you again later.
Thank you.
So it's 4, 5, it's 6 and 7 next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we're on next week. Good night.
Hi, Laura.
Okay, so and we've got Christy until 9:30. I'm done at 9:32. That'd be awesome. Okay, so vision casting. That was something that was meant, that was part of the momentum group and what we were supposed to be doing. And to sit and talk to somebody about their vision, I got caught up in answering questions instead. And it was specifically, don't answer questions. So what does vision casting look like? What do you guys think vision casting look like? And this is not me leading a group that I already know the answer. I'm actually asking. Maybe I should stop the recording. No. What do you think? What is a vision casting?
It says it's still recording.
Should I stop it? Nobody else should hear.
Well, we can leave it as bonus, I guess.
I'm going to leave it as bonus if anybody wants to, you know.
All right. So vision casting is kind of like mentoring. You got to work individually with who it is that you're talking to, because it's another form of leadership, right? And different people get led in different ways. We tried doing it, at least in our house, because Kathy's got Jessica and I've got Joshua underneath me. And it's, how do we cast that vision? How do we get them, because we know what they want, but they're not doing the things that they need to do to get what they want.
Right. Now, Christy says it sounds like goal setting, and I agree. Goal setting is part of it. How is it different than goal setting, though?
Because you have an overhaul. You got this big picture of what you want done, what you want to achieve, how you want to get there. I mean, you've got an overall view of it. Like our objective, all of our objectives eventually be diamond, and living that lifestyle and having all of that to be able to do whatever you want to do, missions, whatever it may be that God has put in your heart to do at that time. So you have that vision, you explain your vision to your people, you guys talk about their vision along with yours and how we take our goals and put that in place so that we can achieve that final vision of everything together. Am I making sense?
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
I think one way I described it recently as well is corporations have vision statements.
Right.
And they use goals to achieve that vision. And so the two go hand in hand, but they're not one and the same.
Right.
Your vision statement is very broad. You use goals to achieve that vision.
And you're going to set up individual goals with each of these people to get that going that way, especially when you have your team growing the way it is.
I think Christy kind of captured it too. It says where you want to be and then breaking it down on how you're going to get there.
Right.
So then I have a question.
Uh-huh.
When you do that, do you actually tell them, like, give them 3 IPAs that they have to do daily? Or that's where I get confused. Like, do you actually plan those steps for them, or do you?
So I would ask them what they're doing. That's the way I would approach it. Is I would say, what are you doing for your IPAs, and see what they're coming with, and you can encourage them. You can't say you're going to do this. You need to encourage them and say, hey, if you try this, maybe it might work out like this. And if you do this, maybe it would come out this way. You'll have different results. It's a way of kind of like relating to them so that they can do what needs to be done. It's a different viewpoint. And if you can show them the outcome, they may be able to do it.
Yeah, I think you really don't want to get into where you're directing what somebody's IPA needs to be, because different people work in different ways again. And there's different types of IPA, right? There's the 5.4 or the 3.31, or I found one in the back office today was the making each week a 10 or something like that. And part of that was these are the daily steps, these are the monthly pieces. So it was a nice way of wrapping up what an entire month's goals were. So I brought that home for Kathy and I to kind of review, but that's where we're constantly out looking at what are the different IPAs or different daily method of operations, because you really need to give that to your team as a way of picking, well, what are the things that you think are going to work for you to help you grow? And you provide feedback. Hey, I see you doing really well at this, and focus on what the strengths are again for somebody to do that's going to make them successful.
Okay. Let me put this out there. Let me throw it. And I wonder if I remember, maybe this was a Leslie Zann thing, that the vision casting is that, so Marcia, if I was going to sit with you and say, big picture, let's imagine that you and I are diamonds together. When we see that Cheyenne and Celeste are doing stuff together, we see Cheyenne having friends over, instead of just saying, I can't wait to be diamond so I can do that. Well, what does do that mean? I might not want to have all those people in my house because I'm not blue. So my vision, right? So now that I'm thinking about it, if I was going to cast my own vision and say, well, when I'm diamond, what is that going to look like? Then I do go through that day. And the day would include my horses and my dogs and relaxing and family. And, so it is going to include those things. It's probably going to be, so I guess I'm thinking about what would that look like so I can emotionally attach myself to that picture. Because if I'm not emotionally attached to my vision, then I really don't care if it happens or not. So I guess finding out what is their emotional attachment to becoming successful? Like, what would their day look like if they reached what they felt was the successful, reached their vision? And then when you break it down on how to get there, that would be a separate thing. So I'm imagining that vision casting has got to be huge, just open-ended. What if you had the day of your dreams? What would it look like? And then say, okay, now what's it worth to you to do that? What would you be willing to do?
How many hours a day or hours a week?
Right.
What would you give up to do that?
Yes, and I think that's where it is starting with that big picture and then backing from it and saying, okay, what would you be willing to do? If you can only send out 2 messages a day, then you realize it's going to take you a little bit longer than someone who's sending out 100 messages a day. But it doesn't make you wrong.
Hey, you don't change the goal, you just change the time that it's going to take to get there.
Exactly.
So, and I think you were right with it being Leslie Zahn that did that vision casting where we wrote off, where do you want to be 12 months from now? And write it as if it is 12 months.
Yeah.
I've got the template for those notes still from when we did that last event. But it was, February of 2017, I'm going to be an emerald and my life is going to be this and I'm going to be, I'm enjoying my life as an emerald, driving my new Lexus.
Right.
So it was stating it as it happened already.
Right.
And that's how you do that vision statement kind of stuff.
Right.
But what I can try and do is, I know where the notes are. It's out in my bag in the van, but I will get that and maybe put that together and put that out there that people can use that for that vision casting.
Yeah. Now, and again, you're going to have different people. For myself, I wrote that down. I must not have written it well because it didn't mean a whole lot to me, because thinking through about what I have and what I'm doing, I didn't really, I didn't buy into it as much as if I were getting excited about going on a missions trip or, so I have to make sure that I'm finding the vision that works for me.
So it's one of those things though that it's kind of like goal setting or creating that daily method of operation. You can't just do it once. You're going to have to probably do it more than once because I don't even know that I completely completed that assignment.
Right.
I mean, I can mentally think it, but actually putting it down on paper, and I know for a fact, when I write stuff down, I commit it to memory far more than if I just talk it or think it into being.
So you are like me, Wendy, where if it's too big, you can't see it and you don't grasp it. So sometimes you have to make it more realistic where it's right there in front of you. Like, okay, I know that if I work these many hours, in my mind, I will be, realistically, I'll be senior gold and ruby. And then if I work really hard, I know that I can be emerald by July. That is something I can visually see myself.
Right.
But that I can relate to, that I can say, yes, it's going to be there. But if you can't see that, if you can't say February 2017, I'm going to be this diamond and I'm going to be driving around in a Lamborghini. If you can't really grasp that, you're not going to get that. You're not going to feel what you need. So,
smaller steps.
Right.
And the vision, some people are great with the vision casting and getting excited, and others maybe it's not the thing that grabs them. But I'll tell you,
See, he got this big image, and I'm like, no, wait a minute. We got to back up a little bit. Woo-hoo, I'm back here.
I think the other piece that I was watching a video and then I was reading about vision casting and how to help. And one of the things is, okay, let's get you to think about how great it would be to be retired, how great it's going to be to have your own time frame, be your own boss.
Okay, boss, how you doing?
Right? I know, I'm struggling. But to have that life that you think is going to be so fabulous, but then the other part of that vision casting is now to tweak it and make it a little uncomfortable, the thought of staying where you are. So I can say, hey, it's going to be fabulous. So if we want to be working for ourselves and making our own hours, then right now we're going to work 8-10 hours a day. That still really bites. So how are we going to get past that? So we want to kind of bring them back to the pain of now to say, yeah, I want the vision. I don't want to continue doing the same thing that I'm doing over and over. So.
Right. I have a lady that I'm working with. She's with a realtor company. She's with us, the title company. And she's like, oh, I'm working all these hours. Oh, I'm working these hours. And I'm like, can you see working for yourself? She's like, no, I can't. So this is these are my prospects that I'm working with. I've been kind of like homing in on. Mm-hmm. So today we got a guy that's been on the fence for 3 months now. And he came in and he says, we're ready to do it. I'm like,
hey, yay. Oh, that's congratulations. That's awesome. Well, we're just going to, I think, thanks guys for staying on a little bit longer. It's 9:29 and we are going to get off before 9:30, as I said, but I think that helped with my vision casting for myself. I hope it helped you guys also.
Yeah.
A little bit more, just understand.
Talking it out.
Yeah. I mean, it is talking it out, but when somebody comes to me and says, okay, can you vision cast with me? I'm going, no. No. I don't know what to do because I don't want to cast a vision myself. But so anyway, guys, thanks so much. This was a great call.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to next week as well. So
thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.
You too.
Don't forget the leaders call.
Which one is that one?
The Jewel one.
Oh, the Jewel.
9:30.
What?
There's a Jewel. Yeah, 9:30. There's a diamond. I think it's diamond. It's
And then I'll put it in here.
Okay. I'm like, message it to me.
I know, and you've got work tomorrow, so.
You. That's okay.
Well, I'm going to end this recording. Good night, guys.
All right.